Hi, and welcome to our final day of Facebook Lives talking about anxiety. To start off, I want to thank you all for being here with me this week, for tuning in, taking the time out to listen and watch, for all your comments and everything. I know I'm a little bit late today, so maybe that's why I've got less people on today, but nevertheless, I'm here now, so it's all about everything happens in divine timing. Everything happens because that's how it's supposed to be. So to start off today, I want to talk about the self-talk, because that plays a really big role in having anxiety and how it plays out in the moment. So our self-talk is very important as a precursor to anxiety. It can very well be how we actually get into that state of anxiety, how we get stuck within it. It's about our beliefs. Our self-talk helps create and solidify our beliefs. Our self-talk helps create who we are and how we feel. And whatever it is that we're talking, the self-talk, we're projecting that into the future. And we're projecting that ahead of time, and we then step into the energy of what we've said. Whether we say that out loud to people, whether we say that out loud to ourselves, or whether we just talk about that in our own mind. So quite often self-talk is about the judgment. So if we talk about actually being in that moment of anxiety or stress or worry because we're unable to do something, we're uncomfortable in a situation, what is that self-talk that's going through your head? And quite often it is, sorry, I'm sitting here with my bunny and it just moved and it scared the life out of me. So the self-talk in that moment is very much about, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I feel this, I feel that. Everything that self-talk is negative, and none of it is positive. And all you're doing in that moment is validating all the things that may be wrong. They're not necessarily wrong, but in your mind, that is what you believe. If you're standing up there, let's say you get anxiety when you're giving a talk, when you're standing there in front of people, whether it be up on stage, in a small group, even in a social setting, in conversation, but all eyes are on you. It's, what if people are judging what I have to say? What if I get tongue-tied? What if I forget my lines? What if nothing comes out in the right order? And you know what? All of that is what if. It hasn't happened yet, but you're bringing up all the things that could go wrong. So you're sending forth that energy of what could go wrong in that moment. And it could very well, because that's the energy that's alive and happening right now, instead of thinking, I'm going to be standing here in front of all these people. I'm so pleased to be able to be doing that because I have this information that I want to share. I'm so pleased that I've got all these people here attending that are willing, waiting to listen to me with bated breath. I'm really pleased that I'm in this social setting with all my friends, and they're really eager to listen to what I have to say. What I have to say is valuable. Can you see the difference there? Because when you're in that negative self-talk, you're talking to yourself into a really bad place. When you're saying all the possibilities that could go right, that could go that could turn everything around, you're elevating your own energy. You're turning everything around from a negative to a positive, and you're the one that's getting excited and motivated to go out and do what it is that you can't do. Another setting is, what if you can't leave the house? What could go wrong? And yes, there are 1,000 things that could go wrong, but there are 100,000 things that could go right. So instead of focusing on all those uncomfortable things. And really, if you can't step out of the house, it is because you're all caught up in your head. It isn't because there's something is going to happen. But I mean, of course, there is always a chance that things can go wrong, but there's a chance no matter what you do. So focus on what you can get right. It's not about judging yourself for what you can't do, because we are our own worst critics more than anybody else. And I'm sure we've all experienced this at any time, even without any stress or worry or anxiety. We give ourselves this anxiety by ruminating all these things that can go wrong within our head. And we've already decided ahead of time, this is how it's going to be. When quite often it's the fear of fear is actually far worse than the experience of what you're fearing in the first place. So that's really all I'm going to say about the self-talk, because I want you to feel empowered by your self-talk rather than disempowering yourself with your own self-talk. So I just want to leave it there because I don't want to go too much about it, because I want to leave that with you, something to think about, and what you do to set yourself up. Do you set yourself up for failure? Do you set yourself up for being open to possibilities? Because anxiety is quite often rooted in perfectionism and a tendency to everything has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it until it's perfect. And if it's not perfect, it's not good enough or it's not right. There is no such thing as perfect. Perfect is only something that you decide is perfect. What is perfect for you may not be perfect for me. So it's really only something that you have decided, a bar that you have set for yourself or for somebody else, that is the highest that it can be. And quite often, because you're a perfectionist, that bar is always being raised. You'll always find something else to go wrong, or something else that has to be better. Yes, you need to practice positive self-talk more often. I think, you know what, Nikki, I think we all do. It's not just about people that have stress, worry, nervous or anxiety. We all do it. It's just innate part of being human, I think. It's part of living a human life. But the thing is, once you're aware of things, you can make that change. So now I want to talk about how anxiety is actually a positive rather than a negative. So if we look at it like this, so I'm just referring to my notes. So if we look at it as a benefit, of course, anxiety is in there because it's our natural warning system to be on alert for any possible danger or any possible threat. So therefore, when you're anxious, you're more in tune with everything that is going on. All your senses are heightened and are on alert, and they're all aware, open, listening, receiving information. Now, the difference with when you're in that state of anxiety or having a panic attack is that while we're receiving the information correctly, what happens between receiving that information and how we process that information is quite often a little bit skew-if. That's where we think we actually may be in some sort of danger, whether it be emotional, physical, or mental danger of some sort. And even that judgment or that self-fear of anything is a danger of because it's fear. So we perceive that as a danger. It's that how we've perceived that information and how we've read that information is what has led us astray. So these are how all these little grounding tools and little tips that I'm giving you really help you to turn that around so you can actually receive that information and understand it clearly and correctly. Anxiety is really good because it helps us show what isn't good for us in our life, what we need to let go of, what isn't working. So if you find that you're really anxious around a particular person or within a relationship with somebody, you might have to ask yourself, why? Why am I feeling this way? Is it because, you know what, maybe this relationship is really not good for me. This person is really having a negative effect on me. And without having that feeling, you're not going to realize the depth of how it's affecting you and how many levels it's affecting you, and that you need to walk away from that relationship or maybe that workplace because it's a toxic environment. So while you can say, yes, but I need that security, I need the money of having that job, is it really worth it for your own health, your own benefits? And quite often walking away from a job that is unhealthy, even though you need the money, is the greater option, because it's all the lessons that you're learning in that moment. It's not about the money, it's about self-empowerment and go, I realize this is not good for me and I'm making a stand for myself and I'm removing myself from something that is unhealthy, something that is not good for me. And then I can work on receiving something that I am worthy of, something that is better for me. It's also about people that have anxiety quite often have the character traits of being more understanding, they're more intuitive, they're more compassionate, they're more empathic. So these are all really wonderful traits to have. And in many ways, yes, they can be a blessing and a curse, but it's again how you choose to look at that. These traits allow us to have more sensitivity, more feeling, it's about being more human, I guess, and it's about connecting. We're able to connect to our feelings and understand and feel our feelings and know. It helps us connect to other people. We can relate to people better. And the last thing I want to talk about, it makes us a better leader. It makes you a better leader in work, within your own life, within your own social setting, because it can motivate you. It can motivate you to problem solve. How can I make my situation better? How can I improve this situation so I don't feel as anxious or as worried or as nervous? They're really good because they're cautious. They don't just jump in or, all impulsive. You take the time to weigh the pros and cons of everything. There is that tendency, though, however, to overthink things, so you then have to find that balance. But as a leader, you're also you're really good at looking at lots of different outcomes, not just being focused on one type of outcome. So therefore, it's really good to be a supervisor role, or someone in charge at work, or a leader within a community group, anything like that. Or you might find that even your peers, they look up to you even in a social setting or even within work, and find out, you really have some really good traits about you and I really admire you. So what you can see as the negative side of anxiety really does have a positive side as well. So as I have done each day, I have to leave you with a tip. And this little tip is about when you're feeling not just anxious, but worried or nervous or a little bit overwhelmed. That's because the right side of the brain it's activated and it's sort of overtaking. There is no balance between the right brain and the left brain. So smell something with your left nostril, and that takes that smell right up into your head and balances both sides of the brain, because one's not doing all the work and the other one is. So if you're using essential oils, you could smell anything citrus, neroli, bergamot. Citrus oils or anything citrus is really uplifting. So I always recommend that. You can go and sniff, you can sniff a flower. Unfortunately, these days, the way they pollinate and propagate them, flowers don't have a lot of smell these days. But if you can find a beautiful rose or any flower that has a really nice scent, go and smell it, but use your left nostril so it goes up to the left side of the brain to help balance. Get a lime or an orange or a lemon, smell that. Anything that's, I wouldn't recommend going and sniffing perfume because that's chemicals and that can have a different effect on you as well. But anything natural, anything beautiful, anything that you love, even go and grab some herbs if you've got some in the garden, or if you're at the shop, go and smell some herbs, a handful of herbs like mint, lemongrass, anything like that. If you've got a puppy, go and sniff a puppy. There's nothing like that, that puppy smell. Something like that is really good to uplift you as well. And as I said, it helps balance the brain. Lydia, my last job gave me really bad anxiety due to bullying. Unfortunately, it happens a lot in the workplace. And as I was saying before, you leaving that job, now I'm not saying to anyone, go and leave your job because it's not working for you. But you'll know within yourself, if it's something like that is giving you anxiety, you walking out from that job is saying, I'm standing up for myself. I'm not willing to put up with that anymore. I'm learning to stand in my own power and make my own decisions. And therefore, it's you're standing up for yourself against that bullying as well. So thank you for watching these 5 days of anxiety. I hope the information has helped you. I hope that you're all trying those little tips that I give you every day. I would love to hear some feedback on any of the days that you've listened to this week. But before we leave, I want to talk to you about, it's something that I've promoted before, and I'm going to promote this again because it's really valuable and I find it really works. It's called the 7-day anxiety workout. Now, why I call it a workout is because for 7 days, in your inbox, you will receive daily information. Now, each day will have a different aspect of anxiety, and the first half of it is information so you can understand about this particular aspect of your anxiety. And when you find understanding, it helps you can put the pieces of the puzzle together and go, yeah, I see how I got here. Now I know how I got here. I know how to not continue that pattern in the future. So I can begin that change. The next half of that workout, the part is the workout where I give you little exercises. Now, when I say exercises, they aren't physical exercises, even though some of them are physical in a way. These exercises ask you to do the self-work related to what I've just given you in that day. And that's where the catalyst to change happens. You have the information, you also know how to work with it. And when you put the two together, it becomes really powerful. That's where the change is created. But it only works if you do the exercises. It doesn't work. Look, you will get some benefit just by reading through it, but you have to do the inner work. Unfortunately, there is no quick fix. There is no pill to take. It does involve that inner work. But I can tell you, even after 7 days, this 5 days of videos, I've only scratched the surface. These 7 days that I give you, again, only scratch the surface, but we have gone a lot deeper than we go on these videos. But it's a really good grounding foundation for you to work with your anxiety, to understand how you got where you have and how to work with it and how to make changes in your thinking and the actions that you put out following that thinking to make these changes in your life, to help you, let's say, prevent anxiety, because it depends on how much stuff you've got that has created anxiety, depends on whether you will ever overcome it. And maybe it's very much like addiction. You go through that detox and you cleanse, but you always have that tendency that you could fall back off the wagon. Because when you do your inner work, it's something that has to be maintained. You can't just do it and then it's over. You have to work on it constantly. And the thing is, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, because you're doing it all the time and it becomes a habit. Just like how you've created the anxiety, we're going to uncreate that and create something new and something beautiful. We're going to create the person that is closer to who you are beneath that anxiety. It's like, you know, taking the layers off an onion, and you're going to find out a lot about yourself. You're probably going to go through a little bit discomfort, maybe some tears, but there will be a lot of joy and smiles on the other side after that 7 days, even, you know, leading up to that. So for these 7 days, you'll receive 1 day in your inbox for 7 days, the information and the workout. For that, it is $30. And at the end of that, we have just over Facebook Messenger, we discuss what, what has come up and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And, we have a little bit of like a little mini session at the end. I also have something else for you, that one of our beautiful people that have taken up this course before and had a lot of value out of it, she has offered to pay for the first 2 people to comment that they would like to do this workshop or this 7-day workout. She's offered to pay it forward for 2 people to do this workshop. So if you would like to be one of those 2 lucky people to do this, please comment now. If you would like to take up this 7-day workout for $30 Australian dollars, please send me a message or comment on this thread as well, and I will contact you. Thank you again for watching these videos. Please share them with anybody that you think that they may help. They're all going to be posted on the timeline, so if you need to come back and watch them at any time for anything that you may have missed, you need clarification on, confirmation on, please come back and watch them again. And thank you again for being here. Thank you for everyone for commenting and saying hello. I know I haven't said hello to everybody because it just interrupts my flow and I forget where I'm at. But again, I'd like to say thank you, and I will see you on the page. Bye.